I'm really excited about today because Jeff is going to show me how to Skoolie weld. I'm really excited. Morning, sunshine. Not you, the bus. Well, you too. Come here. Okay. That Jeff's going to teach us how to Skoolie weld.
Bosie's welding class.
You know, it's funny. I think there's only Bosie's in New York. I don't think it exists anywhere else. I think I looked that up.
That might be true.
Harbor Freight flux welder. Cheap. Let's see if it can get the job done.
Well, you want to make sure the welder's always into a grounded circuit. You're talking retarded amount of electric. You want to make sure you're not in water.
Ah, okay.
You do not want to become the ground for the welder. Trust me, it really hurts. Been there, done that. How to make sure you cover your eyes with welding shield.
And that right there is not the best welding shield. Probably suggested to get one a little better. Ah, that looks like a snowmobile helmet.
A bit more expensive than that one. Takes a little bit more getting used to, but protects your entire face, not just your eyes.
All right, and then we're protecting our eyes from what?
The light that welder makes will literally give you a sunburn and burn your retinas. It can make you go blind.
Let's not do that.
First time making the mistake of looking at that light, you get what's called a welder's flash, where it feels like your eyes are full of sand. It's not pleasant. It takes about 24 to 48 hours to go away.
The welder will plug into a regular outlet. However, that outlet should be
At least a 30 amp breaker.
30 amp breaker coming from your panel. So remember that, nothing else hooked up, because you won't get the full potential, or no, you'll trip, worse yet, trip the breaker and you won't be able to weld.
Been there, done that.
That's the flux wire, right?
This is flux core wire that allows welding without a shielded gas.
So basically you can just weld with a fairly dusted off 2 pieces of metal, right?
Yeah. You don't need the tank of argon.
Put it through there, but you'll follow your particular welder's instructions. So generally we're just covering the overall welding experience with a smaller welder. Welding for my needs, which immediately speaking is I'm welding patch plates on the floor where it's rusting, and they're about probably a 1/16 thick.
If that.
Yeah. So this particular welder will probably do that pretty well, up to probably 1/4 inch, right?
This will do up to 3/16 of an inch.
3/16.
Yeah. Maximum of 3/16 of an inch. If you're a good welder, you can double that by doing what they call double 2 passes, welding on both sides. You get halfway penetration from one side and halfway from the other side, and you'll get full penetration and it will weld.
I plan to be a good welder. This gun call, don't point it at anybody, gun safety.
It's called the Stinger.
The Stinger?
Yes.
Okay. And basically it feeds through our...
Pull the trigger. When it comes out up there, you can let go. The wire will come all the way out to the top. There you go. Probably should have mentioned you don't ever want to touch these two at the same time.
Okay, that's very important. Never touch this and that at the same time. That should be clamped to a earth ground.
That gets grounded to the metal.
To the metal, but...
And that's the power applied to the metal, which makes the arc that welds.
Okay.
Which is why you don't want to become the common ground.
Don't worry, folks. I'm a firefighter.
Because you'll weld yourself forever. We're gonna learn on heavier stuff. It's easier to learn on heavier stuff, right?
Heavier metal is much more forgiving. Than thin metal.
Okay.
You gotta learn temperature control.
Temperature control?
For thin stuff. Thin stuff will melt away really quick, where the heavier stuff will take a lot more heat before you got a problem.
This is more the size.
Yeah, this is more like what you're going to be patching in on your floors.
Okay.
Where if you're welding together something to say hold a water tank, that's much more like what you're going to be using. What you got to do first when you go to weld, you want to make sure where your welds are going to be are nice and clean.
Okay.
The cleaner they are, the better the weld you're going to get. And then you need a clean spot you can hook your ground to.
Like right here? No, right here?
Yeah, right there would work.
Although that
or
won't go flat.
Even here will work. It will ground through this. So that's only light surface rust.
Okay. Oops, sorry. So we want to make sure that it's nice and...
Now, if you put your shield on, I'll show you what a tack weld. Cool. You want to try to do when you're doing a weld, you can do it one of two ways. You can sit there and make U's back and forth, or as I do it, I draw little circles and just drag the circle of liquid metal down with me.
I see.
Either way works. They actually teach you, when they teach you how to weld, to do U's, and the weld should look like a stack of nickels.
Okay.
I prefer the circle method. This way, if you have slightly not matched up sections, you can slowly fill in a hole.
Okay.
If you use a circle.
Okay.
And what you watch is, you look when you're welding at the end of this, there's literally a puddle of metal. That's what you're using.
So you're kind of drawing.
Yeah, if you can draw,
Yeah.
and you have the patience to pay attention to how the metal is being manipulated, you can weld beautifully. Because all you're doing is basically drawing in a line between the two pieces of metal. A nice smooth line.
Nice.
And you can watch, while you're welding, you can see the heat go from on the metal, how far it goes out. You see how it's burnt out here? That's what you want to see. You want to see heat go into the metal.
Okay.
That means your weld has penetrated.
Nice. How far? Half an inch from the metal?
You're going to be 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from the metal.
With that,
Yeah.
that wire.
Yeah, you're going. The wire is going to touch.
Yep.
You're going to have the tip of the stinger 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from the metal.
Okay.
Because the wire is what's making that puddle.
Okay. A little weak.
Hold on one second, that's the thick stuff. We can go and bring the power up to max.
Now, can you weld on the same spot?
Oh yeah. Believe it or not, that's a good weld, except you need to come to this piece of metal. You're staying on this side.
I see.
You literally want to cross over that gap.
So it'd be
Yes,
better to do it from this angle, right?
Yes, the straighter the angle you can get to look at it, the easier it is when you're starting. Eventually you get to the point where, yeah, you don't even look at it. You're like, yeah, I know the weld's here and I can do it.
Right.
When learning, it's easier if perspective is easier.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yep.
Probably didn't spend enough time.
Yeah, you're moving too fast.
Too fast.
Still moving too fast. Here, let me show you. Ready?
Yep. Ah.
See, I didn't weld them together, but you see how the metal just lays in there? You can go nice and slow. Thick metal takes quite a bit of abuse.
Wow.
You're literally, with the electric and that wire, melting all three pieces together.
Wow. This is so fun. I definitely got to get a mask that I don't have to hold like I'm at a.
If
do
you'd
you
like
think
to try
that'll
this
work?
one,
Okay. All right, I'll try it.
try it, because it's a lot easier not having to hold mask.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yep, not bad at all.
I'd say I started learning, Captain. I may be able to be the first gunner after all. My first lesson in Skoolie welding went really well. Thank you, Bosies, for making Jeff an amazing welder, and then in turn teaching me for my weldy build, my Skoolie build. One thing we're going to touch on that's very important is electric. These things must be grounded, okay? They must be grounded. Repeat, you must ground, and you must have a mask that's a little better than that stupid mask, okay? This is Jeff's mask, fancy mask. It has an automatic auto tint that helps to eliminate the UV, which is what's going to burn your eyeballs, like looking at the sun.
Give you a bad day.
Yeah. So you must have one of those. It's fairly easy, to tell you the truth.
Once you learn where the line is.
Yeah, so, but the other thing is when you're using this, again, grounded outlet. The house should be grounded to an earth ground, okay, because this thing has to be grounded, because otherwise, if you don't ground anything, you're going to become the ground if it comes to it, because electricity doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, and that really sucks. It really hurts. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Not a pleasant thing.
And that's if you survive.